Alright. Hello, everyone. So, I know a lot of, if you go back and you look at some of the things that, I talk and warn about on the future, a lot of that stuff isn't in order, and it kind of comes in different moments and probably somewhat confusing. So I've decided to create a series of videos that kind of go through the beginning, which everything all began in 1998, to the present. And before I begin, just remember, this is all fiction. I'm a character in a play. This is all about the novel that is coming out in 2023 or 2024. I hope a literary agent, comes here and views this video too. The faster my novel is published, I always feel like the better. So, let's begin. 1998. I was a freshman in high school, and I was 15 years old. And my English teacher gave us this assignment to predict what we thought the future was going to be like. And of course, mine kind of began with dystopia, but ended up not being a dystopia once we reached a certain point. There were two sources that I used. The first was Nostradamus, and I had to take a little while to kind of think about everything, because some of the things I was confusing with Nostradamus and the other source of information that I got. But that's why I'm doing this, is so that I can straighten those two things out. So, the only thing that Nostradamus got right was his prediction about something hitting New York City in 1999, and which, like I said in the previous video, if you take the 9 and make it a 1, and the 1 and make it 9, you get 1 1. You get 3 1s and a 9. And if you do the dashes, it'd be the 9 would be first for September 11th, and then 01, which would be 2001. So in other words, September 11th, 2001. So that was basically the only thing that Nostradamus got right on this. And at the time, I was working at a grocery store called Tom Thumb. I was what they call a package clerk, or a sacker. And I remember talking to this guy named Brian, and I got to talking to him about the assignment, and that's when he revealed some weird information to me, that I was like, and I remember asking him like where he got this information from, and he kind of told me the public library, but I was thinking in my head, no, there's no way you got this there. And because he also knew things about me that I thought was interesting and hadn't taken place yet, and which got me pondering about things. And then what was even more strange was maybe a month after he revealed this information to me, it was kind of like he disappeared and he vanished. So one day I was talking to him, and I was talking to him about, between religion and this assignment, and one of the things, he mentioned that stuck very, very clear into my mind. Well, first I'll go into the future part, then I'll go into that. He ended up giving me this document. It's on printed paper, about what was going to be coming. And I didn't believe it at first, but I did talk about that there was going to be 3 presidents before the Great Uniter. Maybe possibly 4, because I was very, very confused about this time. And this was the time that I was kind of most worried about. And I didn't believe it until 9/11 happened. But it talked about 9/11 and something in New York City. I kind of skimmed over that part, and then it kind of described the 3 presidents. The first was the idiot, if I remember correctly, and that was Bush. Then it was the foreigner, which was Obama, and then the most hated, which was Trump, and then the next one coming up, which should be elected in 2024, but depending on how things go, it could be 2028, known as the Great Uniter. And I'll say at first, when I was reading this, I thought he was showing me these documents because I had a lot of questions about, the most hated president. Because I was talking to him, I was like, man, this person, it kind of seems like it needs to be stopped, because it's going to kind of lead into all this, bad circumstances and stuff like that. And, during the 2016 election, I kind of thought Hillary Clinton was going to be elected, because in my mind, I kind of thought that she was the most hated. I didn't think it was going to be Trump. But surprise, surprise. So, and as I was reading about this time, it did talk about, the truth is going to be known, the crimes of the foreign president are going to be revealed, and I thought this whole thing was really, really strange, because I was like, man, how could all this happen? And then I got into, the election, and I remember it talking about how that they would overthrow the most hated, and in my mind, when I was reading it, I was like, good, then a certain amount of peace would go on. But then it talked about how the people who overthrew the most hated would end up going on to basically destroy America through economic means and trying to get this whole green initiative going on. And I was like, man, it seems like there wasn't really a good choice either way. And I was like, it kind of sounds like we needed the most hated to be, the person who is elected. And then it kind of talked about how the people would cry out, for this person to return. And things would build up to that point. And when you're reading a document, sometimes you think things are going to transpire a lot quicker than what you see. So yeah, I kind of thought in January of 2021 that Trump would be reinstated. But that was not the case, as we've known. And there was like I said, this is gonna, what is going on, you have not felt the true impact of, like, all the shit that's gonna go down. The games are not over. In a way, we're just kind of building up to this point. This might be a long video, but we're coming to this point where the economy is really fixing to collapse, and it's because of the implementation of there's two things happening behind the scenes. The things that I remember: don't trust anything on the media, because they're giving you false information. You need to go to underground sources. You're going to get the truth there. The other thing was, and I've said this before, one party will die while the other party rebuilds. And I did hint at even though I do think that there's a very good possibility that Trump might get reinstated this year, later on, once the fraud has been all figured out. I can't really remember for sure how that happened. But I do know one thing: the whole voting system gets fixed. I do know that. And that the American people do actually elect a great president in the next election. And I really do think he comes back, because I know that, man, I remember something like this happening, and because the guy was, whoever I was reading about, I remember something happening to where he's like, because everything's going to come to a standstill economic. I mean, everything's going to shut down, from what I understand, with possible blackouts, because right now all of our resources are being taken away from us, basically, or being utilized as much as they can until this new system comes up, which is why I included the bonus, because I'm going to go over some of that stuff too. So there is a possibility of blackouts or rolling blackouts, the saving of electricity and all this other stuff. And inflation is going to be unbelievable. I mean, they're going to be doing this freezing and unfreezing on inflation, like, you just witness, and this is something I went over in organizational leadership, where they do this freezing, unfreezing, create a sense of urgency, blah, 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 blah. So the economic collapse is going to go in stages. Right now you think things might go back to normal because the oil prices are going down. Well, no. That's part of the unfreezing, or that's part of the freezing stage. they're fixing to unfreeze everything, and inflation's going to go up again in the summer. Remember, Q said that there's going to be 3 booms. This is the year when that happened, because I remember that the 3 booms align to the United States Pluto return, which is spring, summer, and fall. And then there's just going to be this weird transition between, I would say, October and March of next year. And I believe that's when we start beginning this whole quantum phase process. So, it's gonna be strange, because, and I can't really explain it, because this is something I haven't been through. It's something I don't think anybody's been through in our lifetime, and it's a one life, like, opportunity to see something. I think in the end, because I remember the author said, wow, there's going to be this wow moment. But the author didn't really describe what this wow moment was. So, this, and reading about this time was probably the most confusing. And the only dates that I had to keep in mind were the way that the presidents go. I didn't really have like a timeline of like, this is gonna happen here. This is kind of like, I gotta feel this situation out, and that's kind of where it's been left off today. And I think we're at the fall. Like, this year, big things are going to happen, and there's going to be a lot of bad, but I think that bad is going to end up producing some good. And it's just kind of like, oh my god. I mean, a lot of people don't understand what's going on, what is going to be going down, and it's really going to shock everybody. In some way, I'm trying to prepare everybody for this moment, because it's going to be a real big psychological death. But in a sense, it's going to be a psychological death in a good way, if I'm thinking what's coming true is coming true. And in the next previous videos, if I remember certain things, I'll bring it up about this. But this was the most confusing time. Once we hit the Great Uniter stage, which I'm hoping is a president we elect in 2024, I hope we don't have to wait until 2028. Because like I said, things were kind of confusing, because I remember, that someone came back and the author was like, I don't know whether the next election occurs in 2024 or 2028 because of this. But he went with the date 2024 because he was uncertain. And, but the party that rebuilds is the party that leads everything into the future. And that, from what I can tell, is the Republican Party. So, and I'll get into the Great Uniter part next time. And it's that election that's going to be key to everything, because whoever this person that we elect, and I'm thinking it's in 2024, is going to be the person who is the best person, the best president ever. And I'm kind of wondering who it is. I don't know who it is. I know their qualities, but I don't think I'm going to reveal that at this point. And, I think most people probably ignore me anyway, but just in case, I know the playbook. So, I'm just gonna let things happen, because things should happen the way they are. And I've given several hints, but we'll figure out. We'll see what the future brings. Alright, so now on to the bonus material. Okay, so this next video clip that I'm fixing to show comes from The Reawakening. It's on Rise TV. You know, and if you like Rise, and you know, Rise TV is a good resource channel to watch, and it comes from a documentary called The Reawakening. This is one of Clement's prophecies, and I wanted to show it before I showed something else. So here is the video.
Same time.
April 4th, 2008, in Seattle, Washington. And they shall say, but now there is a second president. How can we have two presidents? An unusual thing, isn't it? Said the Spirit of the Lord. Why would it be that one with a double mind would stand up and face the people? No, they shall say, we have two presidents. What do we do now? Fear not, for God said, as I promised before, this is my nation, and I will change things according to the time and season. And I told you now, I will expose and reveal things that have been hidden, so that my nation can move into this next election and to the next phase with victory and honor and glory, says the Lord of hosts. I prophesy America. I prophesy America, you are a light, salt, joy. You are a light, salt, joy. I declare this upon this nation. Great, great prosperity again. Oil prices that shall change rapidly, and when the new source of energy suddenly unfolds, people will say, oh God, how did we miss it? It was so easy. At the right time, and the time is now, says the Spirit of God.
In July.
Okay, so that talked about the new form of energy, and that's something that I'm going to be showing that I think I found. So let's check out what some new forms of energy could be. Okay, so here's the first new form of energy. Let's check out this video clip real fast.
A cavity magnetron is a high-powered vacuum tube that generates microwaves using the interaction of a stream of ions with a magnetic field while in the cavity resonator. A magnetron operates through a hollowed, symmetrical vacuum. It emits powerful microwaves that can act as a source of free energy. If you break the symmetry or close the vacuum, it no longer functions. But can you see the resemblance? These structures were never intended to hold glass within them. The controllers added the stained glass to the rose windows to shut off the magnetron's function. They closed out instruments of free energy. And they are everywhere in these structures.
Okay, that was just one thing. Here's another. Alright, and I'll leave these, I'll leave like the website links in the description below to, not the video links, but these, but you know, what is quantum energy? I'm going to go through these real fast, so, and then, you know, you can, you know, look into this later. It's the quantum energy generator is an open source fuelless generator prototype based on a public domain patented invention of Nikola Tesla. The type of energy is utilized by the QEG design is different than that of a conventional generator, and it kind of goes on to describe how it works down here. And this is something that they have, and I'm pretty sure since it was Tesla, that's probably something that Elon Musk will be utilizing, so that's this is, I believe this is different than the other one that I was just showing, but although I may be wrong, I don't know. But so here are two different forms of free energy that could obviously be possible as that new source of energy that I was talking about before. And even though Clement said that in 2008, like I said, I read something about it in 1998. So whatever is going on, this has definitely been known that this was going to take place before 1998. So keep that in mind. Okay, and then now switching back to things again. I brought the International Monetary Fund up because now I'm gonna kind of do things about the quantum era that's coming up. So this talks about how the quantum era computing is about to begin with profound implications for the global economy and the financial system. And it talks about how basically quantum computers can basically interfere, but like where it says that they would also crack many of the current encryption algorithms, and this is where this new quantum financial system is coming from. So this is a pretty interesting document to read in that kind of case scenario, because after reading that, and I know I've showed this before, but I'm going to go ahead and show it again, because after reading that, you get you kind of have to go back to one of the other documents that I reveal the quantum financial system is going to exist. That is not a rumor, because we're coming into the quantum era. This is something I've been trying to hint to people most about. So, you go to this is occ.gov, the Office of the Controller of the Currency. You click search, you type in quantum financial system, since I already got it in there, and voila. Now you click that, you bring this attachment up right here, and I'm on page 3 now. Remember, this kind of like goes up, so you're gonna start right there. I guess it saved it to when I was looking at it before, but then you go down and it's right here, and this line right here, you got in preparation for the global currency reset and arrival of the quantum financial system currently running parallel, and then it kind of goes on to explain all this other stuff that's going on between the United States and Mexico and a United States international settlement. So you got that, and kind of provides you pretty good evidence that they already knew what was going to happen. and they're implementing this quantum financial system while this global currency reset is going on. And I think the quantum financial system is going to be a really, really good thing. Because I think it's going to eliminate corruption. From my understanding and the knowledge of things that I read back in 1998, I believe that's something that's going to take place and that's going to happen. Well, actually, I mean, the quantum financial system, I mean, that's just going to happen. So now I'm going to bring you to something else, and this is quantum.gov. And, this is, it's good if you read the National Quantum Initiative Act, that was passed by, Congress in 2018 and signed by Trump, and you kind of read all this stuff right here about, the things that are going on, what they got in place, and I've clicked this right here, and I'm fixing to show you this right here. That's be an interesting document, and see it as new technologies continue to evolve. We work together with our democratic partners to ensure new advances in areas of biotechnology to quantum computing, 5G, artificial intelligence, and that's Biden. I don't think he's going to be in office much longer, whether it's what I was saying before or if they decide to make him resign because his memory is not all there, or if they end up impeaching him. So let's bring up this other document that's so this is, when I clicked that one document that I showed you, this was the latest update in there, bringing quantum sensors to fruition. It gives a guide, you can go through, I'm not going to read this whole thing, I might go over some parts, but it shows everything that's going on. It's giving you a timeline and a frame of work and everything like that. You got this table of contents right here, recommendations, even recommended timelines and metrics to track progress. These are all the government agencies that are, into this whole thing right now. Executive summary. Let's see here. Some of the things that were interesting were, when I was reading this, quantum systems, this is interesting, atomic clocks, atom infrometers, optical magnetometers, blah blah blah. Sometimes I don't like it when they use too much. This is kind of interesting. Vapor cell whatever that word is, we'll just call it MEG highlight, and it's talking about how these vapor cell-based MEG devices can approach and even exceed the sensitivity limits of squid MEGs without the need for cryogenic cooling or the large footprint for operations. Its potential for diagnosing traumatic brain injuries in the field. So, there's going to be major developments in the medical industry and field, because quantum computing can solve a lot of things. But let's skip down to the timeline. You can come back and you can read this. Like I said, it's on quantum.gov. You're looking at everything right here, but we're interested in the timeline. Okay, so here we go. Timeline, 1 to 3 years. In the next 1 to 3 years, community actions should include and it's talking about everything that's going on right here. You know, and this is, I think, kind of building up the infrastructure for this, and in 3 to 8 years we're gonna see like all this stuff kind of coming out. You know, because there's gonna be performed field tests and demonstrations that expedite early adaptations and transitions, develop and build R&D infrastructure, and everything like that. So, you know, this is talking about, you know, the quantum era that's coming up, and it's I would definitely read this document. Very interesting stuff right here. And then let's see her. And then this is something that I hope comes up. It's what you call quantum leadership. It's actually something that's in my dissertation right now. And because it's going to bring about a spiritual leadership, and I'm going to skip down to all the way right here. See, there are 12 transformational principles of this spiritual capital, namely self-awareness, and then the list goes on and on and on, and this is all good stuff. This is seeing the larger picture instead of the smaller picture. It kind of sees both pictures, and leadership kind of changes to where it listens to people's voices, and it's about kind of transformation, becoming more self-aware, realizing that we're all connected, and you know, positive use of adversity. I mean, the ability to own and learn from mistakes, to see problems as opportunities, resilience, humility. You know, it's gonna increase empathy in the world, and understanding other individuals, and you know, being called to serve something larger than myself. The basis, and you know, gratitude toward those who have helped me, and a wish to give something back, the basis for the servant leader. But this takes it one step above the servant leader, in the stages of the framework of your mind, because the servant leader is in the integral stage of their mind, whereas the quantum leader is at the unitive stage of mind, that basically sees everything as one. Everybody's all connected, and this is what I feel that I'm at, and quantum leadership is something that is going to be very much in need for this new quantum age that is going to be thrust upon us really, really fast. And then in closing, we're going to look at my Twitter page real fast, just to kind of show you some things. I mean, look at my pinned tweet right here. August 2019, I talk about World War III. Russia, China, Iran, Triangle Alliance. So, you know, I understand very good what's going on here. But the main thing that I wanted to show is I wanted to show this. Okay, because I created this not too long ago. The first thing that I did when I made this, man, this was back in 2020. Okay. So you got the emergency broadcast kind of like screen in the background with the emergency broadcast system. You know, and I put this in there first. Wake up. January 17th, 2021. This this is when you all should have woken up. But it doesn't look like, the full wake up probably won't occur until 2024. But there's going to be a lot of things that lead on that stage that happen to where there's going to be a mass awakening probably in 2023 or 2024. But, after the whole, fake president thing, then I decided to, mock the whole situation, and I put the clown world and me laughing because I'm laughing because in a way I don't understand why everybody believes everything that's happening in on the screens, television screen, computer screen, whatever screen, and they can't really see the stuff that's actually going on in the background. And then I put this right here, that this represents, the 3 booms that I'm trying to warn everybody about, along with the United States Pluto return, which is spring, summer, fall, the collapse of 2022. And I actually brought this up. I believe I either put that up in January of this year or December of last year. I'm thinking it was January, because that's when I figured out that the Pluto return was what aligned with the 3 booms. And I put alert EBS. In other words, I'm trying to bring this to your attention, because shit's gonna get bad before it gets better. But when it does get better, it gets really, really good. So I just wanted to kind of update you guys up on, all those situations that are going on. Sorry that this was very long, but I felt like it was necessary. A lot of information I know that I put in here. I hope everyone enjoys this. There is going to be a follow-up to this. I don't know when. Could be in 2 or 3 weeks. I'm busy in my doctorate classes, but I felt compelled to come on here and bring this up. The information definitely pertains to my novel, and I'm getting ready for that, and I can't wait for all that to actually come out. And I hope a lot of you guys are, excited to buy it. And sorry it took so long to get to that point, but I had to build up, my social media, because I wanted to connect it to the novel, because that's how I'm demonstrating quantum leadership, is I'm showing how everything connects through my novel, and y'all are co-creators, in that process, because what you say and do is, affects everything, and it also influences how the novel goes in a way. So I'm trying something new that captures this time, and I think that's something that's very important for authors to do, is kind of catch the frame of the moment, of the era that they live in, and that's what I'm trying to work out. And I believe I'll be successful, and I'm excited about it, because it's major creativity, and I love being creative, and I enjoy doing this, and I hope you guys enjoy the whole thing too. But until next time, I will leave you in Clown World until you see its deception. Hopefully you see it soon. And afterwards, I hope you realize that seeing is not always believing. Your eyes deceive. Very much so. And you guys have a good one. Be safe. Prepare. but do know that good things are coming. Hold on tight and push through. But until next time, I will see you later. Peace. Bye.